Hello there. So there you have it. 2/3 of people in the UK believe that the EU is trying to bully the UK over Brexit. A poll for the Telegraph shows that, of those people asked, 2 out of 3 think that the EU is trying to bully the UK during the Brexit negotiations. The survey reveals that while the split of Leave and Remain voters is largely unchanged since the referendum, 67% of individuals, regardless of their voting preference, agreed that the EU is trying to bully the UK in its approach to the talks, reports the newspaper. Breaking the figures down, 49% of Remainers said Eurocrats were bullying the UK, 36% said they weren't, and 15% didn't know. So more Remainers think the EU is bullying than not. Now that's telling. Unsurprisingly, amongst Leavers, 87% said the EU was bullying, just 3% said it was not, and 10% didn't know. When looking across the board, the figures were 67% agreeing that the EU was a bully, 17% disagreed, and 16% were don't knows. I would add that a cursory glance across the whole EU might lead you to think that the bullying of member states and the citizens that live in them is now the main political tool in the Eurocrat arsenal, wouldn't you? And here comes the Brexit legal challenges again. The anti-Brexit group Best for Britain has claimed that a legal loophole in the Prime Minister's Brexit tactics means that she will be obliged to offer a second referendum, reports the Mail Online. The new challenge centres on claims that existing legislation guarantees a new referendum if Mrs May pushes ahead with the plans for the UK to remain part of some EU bodies such as the European Medicines Agency, it says. This, they say, is because remaining in those agencies would mean us transferring powers to Brussels, so requiring a referendum under the 2011 European Union Act. Well, I've got to say that the best solution then is not to try and rejoin or stay in any of those bodies. The legal argument then fails comprehensively. Also, the nature of the possible membership of those agencies is also key, because if no power is handed over, then there is no legal case either. I must say these Remainers are getting more and more desperate by the day, aren't they? And I also have to say that the words anti-Brexit and best for Britain do not fit together. Brexit is best for Britain. But one thing Leave campaigners should be learning here is that the courts are there to be used by our side too. We cannot leave it to the government. Those Leave organisations with deep pockets should now be readying themselves to launch legal challenges against any move to water down or delay Brexit that does not follow the Article 50 procedure to the letter. We should also be ready to legally challenge the EU if it tries to give countries such as Spain or the Republic of Ireland any form of veto over the negotiations, as the article states quite clearly that qualified majority voting is to be used. And with all the court cases and resulting confusion, no agreement that stifles the UK can be reached, and we automatically leave the EU at 11 PM on the 29th of March 2019, and that's that. And now to the case for an English Parliament. Writing in Brexit Central, Guy Parfitt, constituency manager to UKIP MEP William Dartmouth, makes a great case for such a body to be formed. He starts by pointing out the obvious, that our current political classes are completely out of step with ordinary people, as evidenced by their disdain of the voters' wish for Brexit. Guy then shows how completely unrepresented the country of England is, with Westminster more concerned with carving it up into regions than treating it as its own entity. It's fair to say that in order to take back control of UK sovereignty, borders, laws and money, we need to take back control of our democracy. simply returning powers to the same hands who were willing so freely to give them all away will not instil public trust. A Parliament for England elected by PR would set it in line with the other nations of the UK and bring powers a step closer to the grassroots, he writes. But you can imagine the outcry of horror from certain quarters. An EU Parliament? Fine, they say. A Scottish Parliament? That's brilliant. Welsh and Northern Ireland assemblies for national identity, etc.? Marvellous. But the mere mention of an English Parliament would bring cries of regression, xenophobia, racism and all the rest. The term Little Englander would be tiresomely wheeled out morning, noon and night. If, to the relevant nationalists, Scotland, Wales and Ireland are countries, then how can England not be a country worthy of its own legislature? And why should England and the English have to be the ones ignored or carved and parcelled up for the convenience of others? Maybe after the Brexit dust has settled, we can look to a new UK constitutional settlement where England and the English have the same rights and representation as others in the UK, who are at present arguably overrepresented. I say let's look seriously at this and get back some English national pride. So what are your thoughts? Do you think the EU is attempting to bully the UK into a bad Brexit deal? Do you think the Leave side should be preparing its own legal challenges? And what about a Parliament for England? Please leave a comment below. Thank you. Please do like and share this video. And also subscribe to my channel. And when subscribing, please do remember to press on the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an alert every single time I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching.